talking today about the 12-week year. I did my first 12-week year this year that I actually completed. I have a history of trying things and then never finishing them, and this is something I'm so proud of myself because I just kept going. I think we'd first talk about the results and then probably about what worked, what didn't work, what have I learned, all of the good stuff. Let's start with the results. You already saw it in the thumbnail. I have this really cute goals certification of me reaching like 5 goals. One was that I performed 80% or at least 80% of these habits that I had for 7 out of 12 weeks. I mean, that is more than half of it. Could have been better, probably. Was it necessary? No, actually not. And I think that's important to say in the 12-week year, because what you read in the book is that they say you should have like 85%, or that's something you should aim for, that you don't need more than that because that's already enough. I remember they were saying in the book that if you start like out with 60%, that's fine too, but that they found out for their clients that mostly if they reach like 85%, they will reach the goals. But I think especially if you use 12-week year for developing habits like I wanted to do with that, you can't always go full in. You need also breaks, and you also need setbacks to learn that, oh yeah, this is actually important. That's kind of like how we learn things, by forgetting them and then learning them again or doing them again and teaching our brain with that. This is important. We want to do this. And yeah, I'm really proud of this progress. It also made me realize, no, you don't need to reach 80% or 85% every week. This is the aim, but it's totally fine not reaching that every week. There will be weeks that are way worse than that. And you will also have like vacation, or you will be sick, and there will be just weeks where you can't achieve this high level. One of my goals was to increase the amount of fruits and veggies that I'm eating, and I started out with like around 3 portions per day, or at least that's what I thought. Now I'm a little bit unsure about that, but when I was recently at home, I used the kitchen scale and realized that I'm eating way more fruits and vegetables than I thought. And I had like, I remember that one day I had like 2 salads and fruits for breakfast, and in between I reached like 9 portions. I'm like, oh, okay, it looks like I have achieved that goal, and I stopped like counting or tracking that anymore after that, because I see I do it, and I definitely see that I had like this one mini habit that was called eat a fruit after a meal once a day, and that really has become a habit. A bit less here at home, but definitely at work. I always eat like an apple or a banana after lunch, and it's such a normal thing for me to now, and I often also crave it to have that, and really love that. Really love how small habits have changed things, and really proud of it. Another goal was to complete over 40 workouts, which I did. I trained mostly with Growth Joe and with Tracy Steen, who has like a lot of beginner strength workouts that I really enjoyed. My overall goal for this year is to increase the amount of movement per week, from, I think I started at 130 and now I'm over 200 on average per week. And so I have like 100 minutes left that I have to increase it, but I think I'm doing a really good job so far, and especially like in the winter time in January and February, it's so difficult because you're not so much outside. Norway is very cold and very icy and snowy here, at least in Oslo, during this period. And yeah, very proud of it, and I think it will be so easy now when I start like hiking again and being outside, playing frisbee golf and walking to work. I think it will be so easy to reach these actually 300 minutes per week with the next 12-week year. Then I had a goal of working on regulating my nervous system and actually doing that daily. I realized that that was a goal that's a bit difficult to name it like that, because if you say, oh, you're gonna do it daily, you have no room for failure, no room for pauses or anything. And so I reached like 68%. And I mean, that's better than before, where there was almost non-regulation. And my main way to do is one using the NeuroFit app. It's an app that helps you to do somatic exercises. You usually check in saying how you feel, if you're like stressed, burned out, anxious, if you are calm or loving, or if you are excited. And then it gives you, depending on where you want to be and what kind of state, it gives you exercise suggestions. They're usually like 2 or 3 minutes. They range all from ecstatic dancing to tree shaking. That's kind of like doing like this. It looks so funny. Yeah, you do quite a lot of things. A lot of breathing exercise, some massage exercise. Sometimes you just have to kind of like hit yourself. Yeah, very different things, really helpful. And then the second one was to work on doing an yoga exercise, a yin yoga exercise called Legs Up the Wall, where I just, yeah, lie on the ground, or I do it mostly in my bed, lying in my bed and then putting the feet on the wall and then staying there for like 10 minutes. I usually use a mantra and meditate on that, but you can kind of like do what you want in that time. Also helps you to kind of like calm down and be more in your parasympathetic nervous system. And so I did almost 70%. I'm really proud of that. I did a lot of progress on that. So for this year, I actually want to lose some weight again. And I had hope for losing like 3 kilograms, and I didn't. I maintained my weight, which is also good. I have to say I had like overeats almost every week, every second week. This is something I'm gonna work on the next 12-week year. I had kind of like hope that kind of like if I add more fruits and veggies, that will kind of like push out a bit more of unprocessed foods, which they did. It definitely did, but it didn't stop the overeating. So I definitely see benefits from increasing my fruits and veggies. That will be good for me anyway. It is healthy to do that. It just didn't help me with like losing weight. So that's something I've learned from that 12-week year. One other thing I realized at the end when I looked at my habit tracker was that I performed 499 habits in this 12-week year. And that is amazing. It's like, oh my goodness, almost 500 habits I've done in that time. And I mean, a lot of more that I don't count, but that's amazing. I had 32 perfect days where I did everything that I wanted to do on that day, and overall had like an 83% overrate for all my habits I've been doing, and that is impressive. Yeah, so amazing. So I'm really happy with my results. Let's talk about what worked and what didn't. So the 12-week year can be, depending on what kind of strategies you use, can be very like, I would say quite stressful. It can be very overwhelming because you have to do quite a lot of things. I got to the 12-week year because I wanted to work on mini habits, and I think I did a good job in like having all these habits very small, so I could do them even if I was like sick or on vacation, and that really helped. I think it's really important to have a weekly review like I did, actually just like talking to the camera, but also like doing one for myself in my journal, writing down what worked, what happened, how did it go. And yeah, I think that's one of the most important things, to do the reviewing. And even though it feels uncomfortable sometimes when you don't have the best results that week, then I realized, especially with the goal setting, because the thing was I started with the mini habits and then I tried to create goals from that. For the next 12-week year, I have a bit more ideas what I want to reach. So I have the goals first and then the habits for it. But also saw that there are specific goals that help me way more, like having progress goals that are very small in the beginning. So for example, saying I want to regulate my nervous system daily is way too high. You can only lose by that. So that didn't work. But probably if I had said I want to regulate my nervous system twice a week, or maybe saying 10 times a month, that would have worked a little bit better. And then having like very small goals and then being able to exceed them is so much more motivating for me than setting really high goals and then not being able to achieve them. Especially if I'm like halfway or a third in it and I see, oh, this is probably not possible to reach, then I'm like, me. And I want to give up. So yeah, I definitely see like progress goals are the way to go. One thing that also helped me was this self-care jar that I created with this little cute vase where I put like a coffee bean in there every time I do something, like for example my habits, or yeah, just doing a morning routine, any kind of like self-care habits. I think that's really cute and yeah, very motivating to see it here at the window and yeah, look at it and knowing you've got this. Another thing I kind of stopped doing, but I want to do it again, is writing future letters. There is a website, it's called, I think, futureme.com.org or something like that, where you can write yourself a letter and then you say when it's supposed to be sent to you. You can also send it to other people. I started doing that and then kind of like forgot about it again. For the next 12-week year, I definitely want to do it because it's so motivating to get that letter like a week later or a month later or 12 weeks later and see how far you've come and where you were at that time and what was your intentions, and just to see how far we've come. And it really can help you, especially in the weeks that are kind of like tough. It might help really well. So that's something I would definitely want to do again for the 12-week year. When it comes to tools, I realized there were, obviously you have to find any kind of way to track your strategies for the 12-week year. I realized I really enjoyed my habit tracker app for that, especially if I could make it like rainbow colors, but you don't have to. Like probably for the next 12-week year I will use another app. You can use Notion or Excel. You can just write down a table with things you want to do. You just have to find something that works for you. I definitely could see like having that on the app really helped me because it was the easiest thing to do, and you could like confetti if you'd had a perfect day, and yeah, things like that can motivate me. So if that helps, take that. I also needed like a journal. This was my journal that I used. I had like, for example, my vision in there. I've written down a bit like how things went when I started and how they ended in different areas of my life. I did like the wheel of life, I think it's called. I had like a feelings list because I was checking in with my feelings every day. And then obviously I had like a lot of space to journal every day. I try to journal every morning, just asking myself how I feel, and then also trying to celebrate the day at the end of the day if I manage to do that. I can't say that that has become a habit, but the checking in the morning is definitely one. When I started my 12-week year, I had the idea of using the Power Sheets goals planner, and it definitely didn't work out for me at all. But the Erin Condren goals planner is the thing to go for 12-week year in my opinion. So I have been writing down all the goals that I have for this year, and then also created like goal trackers that I have to update now again. And then I have kind of like, here you have like you write down all the goals overview with like the goal, why it's important, your action plan, helpful habits for this goal. And then what I really like also about this planner is that it has like a weekly check-in where I, for example, always put my habit tracker in. It asks you how the week went and what I'm celebrating, and you can check in for every day. They have like, I think 16 weeks. And at the end, something I really enjoyed was this one here. You have like 2 pages with saying celebrating this goal, how it feels to achieve it, what worked to achieve this goal, what didn't work, how I've grown, what I've learned about myself, and how I'm celebrating. And I think that is so important to, at the end of finishing a 12-week year, that you have time to actually journal here and see what has worked, what hasn't, so that you can use that kind of a very compromised of the whole 12-week year for the next one. It's also because this planner has 6 goals. You could use it for 6 12-week years, which is really cool. What didn't work? I would say what definitely didn't work were some habits. There were several times I started a habit and realizing this doesn't work, or often I decided to, like, the same if I wanted to do a habit every day, and that was just not something I was able to do yet. Sometimes it was because the habit itself was too big. You had to kind of like scale it back and do a smaller step of it. Sometimes you kind of like didn't have any triggers or time where it was good to do it. That was definitely a problem, but it was not a problem because you realized, okay, this is not working. You have to try something else and you just have to tweak it. One other thing I realized at the end when I looked at my habit tracker was that I performed 499 habits in this 12-week year, and that is amazing. It's like, oh my goodness, almost 500 habits I've done in that time, and I mean a lot of more that I don't count, but that's amazing. I had 32 perfect days where I did everything that I wanted to do on that day, and overall had like an 83% overall rate for all my habits I've been doing, and that is impressive. Yeah, so amazing. I tried to weigh myself once a month and that didn't work out. I definitely see I have to do a different way. I think for the next year we'll try again with like daily or weekly weigh-in and see how that affects me, if I want to keep on that, or yeah, if I want to change it, we'll see. I also had planned to do like a monthly review, like every after 4 weeks. I don't know, I didn't do it. Can't say if it didn't work or if I just didn't focus on that. Especially during the first 12-week year, there's so much new and you're battling so many of your thoughts that want to keep you of like giving up and stopping. Maybe I will do that in the next one or in the third or the fourth one, we'll see. Another thing I didn't think that worked was an app that was called Happy Scale. I definitely saw that I was so confused with like the weight that I put in, and yeah, that didn't work out. But I have to say there was not so many things that didn't work out. Yeah, maybe my power sheets I realized they didn't work out for me, so I had to give them away to somebody who loves them and really enjoys using that system. It was just nothing for me. And then probably the last question also I have in here is what I've learned about myself. One thing is probably that I can achieve things. I think there was a lot of like belief systems in me saying that I'm not able to stay consistent, I'm not able to achieve anything. I definitely saw a lot of self-sabotage. Like I would tell my friend, oh, I have no eaten in 2 weeks, and then the same evening I would start overeating. Or yeah, I could also see it by how often I had a really good week and the next week was bad. And I think that's kind of like the thing of sabotaging yourself. And what I realized was, okay, this is part of the journey. We just keep going. We don't change anything. It's not a measure of that you're not successful or this is not working. You just keep going. And I definitely see I feel way more relaxed when I do mistakes and when I do self-sabotaging actions. Sometimes I'm able to catch myself a bit earlier. Most of the time I'm not. I just realize it afterwards. Yeah, that's part of it. I'm pretty sure it will be easier for the next 12-week year because now I have like this experience like under my belt, knowing I can do this and I can achieve it. And so I'm really, really happy I've started the whole thing. I obviously didn't follow all the rules of the 12-week year. I had more goals. I had more like habits and less like one-time actions. I didn't do the buffer blocks and all the other blocks that I have. But I did other things of it. But I also think if you use the 12-week year for free time and your personal life, you have to give yourself more time to learn new habits. Give yourself grace. This is not an easy thing. I've looked into a lot of like groups where people do it, and it's actually really hard to find actually somebody who does the 12-week year and finish them as well, which I understand. I was one of them who didn't finish, so don't give up. Keep trying. You've got this. And I'm really looking forward to see you in the next video, where we're gonna talk about what is my plan, one of my goals for the next 12-week year. I'm really looking forward to doing that. Have a wonderful day. I see you again very soon. Bye bye.